This show brought to you by Circle of Seven Productions, www.cosproductions.com. Please be sure to subscribe and welcome to our circle.
Hello, everybody. This is Patricia W. Fisher with Readers Entertainment Radio, and it is already January 28th. And so we almost have the first month of 2021 under our belts, and so things, I think, are going okay. So we'll just keep going towards the positive, and everything's going to be on the up and up for this year. It's going to be a good year. I've already decided. And so along with that, I always like to say a happy birthday to some people, some of which are just fantastic literary people. Lewis Carroll's birthday was yesterday. He was born in 1832 on January 27th. And then tomorrow is Oprah's birthday, and she was born January 29th in 1954. And if you ever get a chance, read her story. Whether you watched her show or not, she came from truly nothing, and it's quite the amazing journey to see. Also, two baseball greats have birthdays this weekend. Jackie Robinson was born January 31st, 1919, and Nolan Ryan, January 31st, 1947. So a little bit of trivia there for you, and it's always good to have those things under your belt for fun party information and useless trivia for game night. But while you were contemplating all that, I wanted to give you a bit of escapism. And a great way to escape is through a book. And I have an author here that's got some great ways to escape. And her name is Summer Dowell. And she's an author of fun, feel-good chick lit and romantic comedies that will brighten your day. She lives in Southern California, where she spends her days keeping her 6 energetic children alive and doing massive loads of laundry, but never-ending laundry. Summer loves to fit in writing during her free time, where she brings to life all the sarcasm and humor that none of her family fully appreciates. She released her first book, of the Wedding Business Series, It's Perfect, in October 2020, and now she's working on her next book, It's Just Business. The rom-com series follows 3 friends working in the wedding industry. You can find Summer on her website, as well as Instagram, Pinterest, Author Amazon, and BookBub. Welcome to the show, Summer. How are you today?
Good. I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
Yay! So I was looking through your stuff, and it's so much fun to see people, like a new-to-me author. And we've talked to each other some on a Facebook page we're both part of, and Chicklit, a group. And it's just one of those fun things that it's always fun to meet new people, even though it's just virtually. And you've got a ton of books here. So tell me how you started writing, or what was the catalyst to get you to start that first book?
I've always loved, obviously, reading and writing my whole life. I never thought I would ever write a book, because it always seemed too out of reach, right? Like, in my mind, you always hear about, publishing a book, you got to go through the publishers and all that stuff. So I'm independent published. And so when I realized, I started researching that, I realized, oh my gosh, I can write a book, and I can publish it myself,
Yeah.
So that's how it started, mostly, because I've always loved writing. I've loved writing stories, but the idea that I could do this, and it was available to me if I just obviously it takes a lot of work, but that was a catalyst to really starting to pursue writing. I don't know.
Right. So what did you find to be the easiest part of indie or self-publish, and what was the hardest?
The easiest part, it's a very welcoming community, probably. Like, you can go on any forum, any Facebook group of indie publishers, and they're like the nicest people. They're like, what do you need help on? What do you need to learn? And they'll give you everything.
Right.
I guess the hardest part is just there is so much to learn. It's like, you don't just write a book. When you indie publish, you are the marketer, you are you're running the whole editing aspect, the cover, you do it all. So I guess just the amount to learn is probably the hardest part, but
certainly.
If you're willing to put in, it's a good journey.
It is a good journey. I think that one of the things that surprised me the most is the PR of it. You're just constantly telling people about this book you're writing. And I guess after a while you probably, I mean, I know I have, and I've talked to a lot of writers who've done this. It's like we're really, really great at promoting everyone else's works, but when it comes to our own, it seems to be a harder sell even for us to do. So it's that process of having to really be your own cheerleader.
Yes, for sure. I feel like there's nothing more makes me more self-conscious than telling people I write books. Like, yes, I write books. You should read my book. Like, that's like the hardest thing to say to somebody. But I can rain praises on my other friends all day long. But
sure,
to tell somebody to read my book, that's very like, ooh, yeah. I mean, if you want to, if you have time.
Right. But. If you have, if you like, it's free, or it's like 99 cents. It's.
Yes.
Yeah, it's that feeling of, should I say something? And we should really be pretty proud of it, because those projects are huge.
Yes, they are. It's true.
And you've written 5.
Yes, I have written 5. It's funny. I even look back now, and I look back on some of the first books I wrote, and I'm like, ooh, what would I have done differently, or how would I, I feel like that learning curve is so. I just keep going. Every book, I feel like I learn something new, and I'm like, ooh, this is what I should have done,
Right. But, now, do you design your own covers?
I do. I do have a love of like art and design, and I actually used to be really big into calligraphy, so it's kind of I feel like the cover is actually some of my favorite parts to do, is to design that on the side.
Did you study it, or is it just self-taught, or because you've got this great video on your Instagram that talks about, it shows you writing and on the iPad, and how you're editing, and you've got all these cool type thing, and is that something that you've done your whole life, or something you've learned? I mean, what is it that you've done for this?
Yeah, I think in classes here and there, like starting back in high school, I remember taking a few, when there wasn't tons of software, but like some Photoshop classes back then, and even through college, I took a few classes here and there on design work. I didn't major in it. I majored in business, but I feel like kept, my foot in like occasional classes here and there, wherever possible. So I would not say I'm like professionally trained, but I have spent many years working with design on and off, so it's just I think it's the creative outlet. It's another creative outlet that's kind of fun in publishing books, but yeah, I don't know, it's a fun one.
Yeah, I mean, they're just, and they're fun and flirty covers, and just and you have it that you're saying that you have. What is it? It's some people call it sweet romance. Some people call it clean. That basically means there's no sex on the page. There's sexual tension, but there's not anything written out for you. And so, why that choice of type of book that you're writing?
So I generally read those kind of clean, sweet books. Like that's just what I enjoy reading. I don't love reading all about the sex and all that stuff as much. So I think I was just thinking, like, what is a book I would want to read and I would enjoy reading? And I think there is a lack of those kind of books in the market, especially in the romantic comedy. So I think it was a combination of books I like to read, and I could just kind of see there's a niche in the market that can get fulfilled. So it has drawn me to write those kind of books mostly.
Sure. Well, and you make a very valid point about what book would I want to read, what book is out there, and what book isn't out there. And there's a great quote, and I believe it was Toni Morrison said it, if you don't see the book that I'm going to paraphrase, if you don't see the book that you right, that you want to read, write it, And so, I think, and I always think that what's so much fun about specifically the romance genre, there is this massive spectrum of types of books to read. So you can find, if you're feeling like you want to read this kind of book and October, and then this kind of book in November, or next June, they're out there.
Yeah, I know. I agree. It's like you can read the most lighthearted, fluffy book, or go and get the most angsty kind of like dark romance. Like it's there no matter what you want to read. So I feel like there's tons of room to write what you want.
Absolutely. And so much fun. So growing up, what were the kinds of books and movies you watched that inspired you to want to write the romantic comedy?
I actually did. I loved historical fiction. Surprisingly a lot growing up. You know, your time period kind of romances, Jane Austen's. I loved those growing up. In terms of movies, I feel like the 90s were like the heyday of the rom-com movies. You know,
right.
all those, like My Best Friend's Wedding, and I can't even think, I'm drawing a blank right now, but How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days, all those, like, just kind of fun rom-coms came out a lot. I love watching those. So the series I'm writing right now, it's based on three friends who work in the wedding business, and I always loved the movie The Wedding Planner with Jennifer Lopez. And so I've always wanted to write a series, not obviously, but similar to that, like the idea of this wedding planner or somebody who works in that wedding industry. I just thought it was such a fun storyline, kind of. And so actually that movie was my inspiration for this current series. So that was always a favorite of mine.
So how long have you been kind of thinking about writing this series of the three friends in the wedding business?
It's been one in the back of my mind. I feel like for me writing, some people have tons of stories in their head. I think I more have like, ooh, this would be a fun setting or kind of, you know, storyline, like a very vague one. And so I have a couple of those that I always just have in the back of my mind. And this is one that has always been like, one day I want to write that, like, that kind of wedding industry series. So finally got on it.
Good for you. How long does it usually take you to write a book?
So I don't write full time. I have a lot of kids at home, so for me to write like there's a lot of them. But for me to write like a rough draft, you know, it's around, I would guess, about 2 months to be fair. When I'm writing, because I don't have a very schedule, I make a goal to write 1,000 words a day. And so when I'm writing my first draft, like, I'm just going to write 1,000 words, and once I do that, I can write over it, but my goal is to write 1,000, and so that usually takes me about 2 months with that timeline.
Okay. So when you've written that 1,000 words, and then you go back the next day, do you edit those 1,000 words and then write the next 1,000?
No, I'm more of a I write my first draft, and it's a very messy first draft, very rough, you know, but I like to just get everything on the page, and then I go through and then I do my editing and fine-tuning, but I feel like I can edit better when I have that whole story kind of finished off.
Sure.
For me.
You can start pulling those threads through better and really know where you want things to go. So when you started let's go with your book. You said If It's Perfect came out in October. So tell me about this one.
So If It's Perfect, so the series is going to be about three friends. One is the cake decorator, one is the florist, and one is the wedding planner. And so the first one was about the cake decorator, and her name is Hope, and she has this problem with perfectionism, and she wants the perfect life, she wants the perfect job, like she wants to appear perfect, and she wants the perfect man. And so the storyline just goes into her kind of overcoming this realization that life isn't perfect, and the man that she ends up dating that she thinks is perfect, you know, he might not be perfect either, and so that's kind of how that story unfolds.
Well, I mean, and I think we all do that in our 20s for sure, is everything's very idealistic. I will speak for me and several of my friends. You know, I remember us going out in college, and we'd all say, you know, who you think's cute, blah, 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 when we go out to dinner or, you know, dancing. And it was, a friend of mine was like, only want a guy that's at least this tall and has this color hair. You know, it was like these really specific things. And then, you know, life happens and you get older and the perfection isn't valid. So you start, you know, changing things. It's like, okay, well, you know, maybe I should just look for a really good quality person. And so if he's shorter than that or taller or whatever. So it's very interesting, the process of the perfection idea. And so was that from like, did you have that from personal experience? Was that from watching friends? Was that just seeing different things that people do in different situations? How did you come up with that particular idea?
I wouldn't say I'm a complete perfectionist, but I have a little bit of that in me, the need to achieve. I'm trying to think. I have had a few friends that are perfectionists. It's just kind of I feel like it's a fun character that everybody relates to a little bit.
Sure.
Everybody in a certain way, wants things to be right and wants them to be good. So I feel like, in my mind, it's just a very relatable character for most people. So I feel like it's always fun when your character is one that people can, I can kind of see that. I can kind of see myself in that, makes them more real, I guess.
Well, and I think too, I think it's hard sometimes that lesson of, well, life just isn't like that,
Yeah.
Sometimes it's a real kick in the teeth to learn that. So but it's fun. It's a fun character to write for sure.
Yeah. Yes, it's fun. It's fun to come up with things that go wrong when you have a perfectionist, I guess.
Yeah. So did you actually take any sort of cake decorating classes or do any study in regard to knowing, because there's like 1,000 different tips anybody can use for decorating a cake, and types of icing and certain kinds of cakes? I mean, what was the research in that? And was it all delicious?
It was the most delicious research I think I've done so far. I like cooking. I love baking, and so I've made cakes obviously in my life. But I did, when I was writing this book, I did research a lot. I followed a lot of blogs and wedding designing. I researched lots of design tips and things like that. Which is, I feel like that's part of the fun even of writing books, is you get to research things and things you probably would never, I guess, look into normally. But yeah, right. I have a lot of cake knowledge now. I probably can't execute any of it. You don't ask me to make your wedding cake, but I know how you're supposed to make one.
Right. What was some of the craziest stuff that you read about demands or requests that people had for their cakes?
I'm trying to think. I think a lot of it was just people would request something, and obviously it didn't come out as they envisioned it. The like needing a refund maybe, or just more upset that it didn't look exactly how they wanted. Right. I don't know. I mean, for the most part, people have positive stories, but there's always those issues where it just doesn't work out, and the client is always right. So.
Well, yeah, I say that with a shaky voice because sometimes the client is very unrealistic. Yes. So you've got The Cake Decorator this is the first book of the series. So tell me about the book you're working on now.
So the second book is about the florist. She's the friend, and her storyline, she's kind of complete opposite. She's a very, free spirit, almost like hippie kind of vibe, as opposed to her friend who's the perfectionist. And her storyline is all about how she kind of wants to open this flower shop, and her location kind of gets swiped from this other guy who has a business. And so it's just kind of this rivalry between the two of them over this business location. And so, yeah, that's just how that plays off. It's kind of an enemies to lovers kind of storyline between those two.
Those are always fun because the banter sometimes is just flows, And it's easy to get people angry when they're really into each other, but they're just like so frustrated with the situation at hand. And so, those can be always the most fun. Those are the moments when they have like a fight with like food fight or throw flowers at each other. I don't know. So yeah, that's always fun. So for the research for the florist, same kind of thing. Were you able to go on these different blogs and see what flowers matched, what worked well for? Now, where is the setting of the story?
These stories are both in actually Southern California. This book's where I'm from, so I felt like it was fun. It's fun to write a place I guess I'm familiar with. So
sure. So is it a fictitious place the stories are set in, or is it a real place and then you've put this fictitious story in there?
They are real places. Yeah, they're in Orange County, California. So they're real places, but yeah, most of the stuff inside is fictitious.
So when you're driving around, are you taking notes like, okay, that's on that street corner and that's there and there's that coffee shop, and I mean, are you putting those kind of things in? So if someone was driving and knew the story, they go, oh yeah, there's that.
There's some details. I mean, I don't go too specific with locations, but there are, especially for this flower shop one, there is a few instances where you're like, oh, that's a real place. Like, oh yeah, like that strip is where the shop is supposed to be at is a real place.
Right. Yeah, I've read like Gemma Halliday. Gemma Halliday has several series, and one of them, the High Heel Mysteries, and it was very funny to read her for the first time because she would talk about taking this road and this exit. It's all set in L.A., and so I would ask friends. They're like, "Yep, that's exactly how long it would take you to get from here to there," and the frustration of, oh, I don't want to have to drive because even though it's like 3 blocks away, I have to go around and like across, and it's going to take me like an hour and a half. So it was very interesting to talk about all that and see it. It's like, oh yeah, okay, well that would definitely change things. So the third book is the actual wedding planner. So when do you anticipate that one would be live and in print?
That one I'm hoping to get by the end of the year.
Okay.
I'm very flexible with my print dates and stuff, just because I feel like with my family, you never know what's going to show up. Like this last year, obviously, was a kind of a whirlwind year, so a lot of things got pushed back a little bit. But I'm hoping by the end of the year to have book 3 out too. Right.
And so, tell me the age range of your kiddos.
So my youngest is 1, and then my oldest is 8. And
so lots of laundry.
Lots of laundry, yeah. There's 6 of them, and they're all nice and close.
Right, and lots of mismatched socks.
I've given up on ever matching. My kids just know, just grab 2 socks. Doesn't matter if they match.
Right. I keep thinking that it's like I've got all these socks. I've got 4, and I'm going, okay, well, that looks about the same size. And so I'm just kind of to the point now where I just. My husband's like, where are all these matches? I'm like, I have no idea. And we would have to literally everybody go and clean their rooms, like from top to bottom, empty everything, because we'd find some of the socks. But it's just going to happen again when we do laundry. So
I know.
I
know. The joke is always that socks and Tupperware lids are the 2 things that magically disappear. You can never find the right lid, and you can never find the matching sock.
Yes. Well, you could always do what my grandmother did. So she was from Mississippi and alive during the Depression. So she had all of these. When I knew her, of course, she was financially okay, but she always had that mentality of using everything possible. But she always kept jars. That was her big thing, jars. And then, of course, Tupperware came later. But she would have a jar, and she could never figure out which lid went to the jar. So there was this whole, like you're saying, this whole thing of jars and lids. And what she would do is she would just grab a jar and she would grab a lid, and then she would use wax paper over the top of the jar, and then would just put on rubber bands and just make it to where until the jar lid fit.
Yeah. There you go.
So whatever works, right?
Well,
now we have press and seal, so you could use that too. I think my grandmother probably would have a heart attack with the press and seal because it's very hard to use again. The wax paper, probably a little bit easier to wipe down and use again. So yeah. But I mean, when you don't have much growing up, that's you use what you have. So that never quite goes away.
It is. It's a good life lesson,
It is. I remember getting very frustrated with her because she would go after us in the trash, like if we took too many paper plates. Like she would actually peel the ones off the bottom that, like the pizza or whatever, hadn't stained through, and we would just be like, really? But I mean, there's no way for her to have explained and us to understand how hard it was, to be that worried about everything. I even remember her having pieces of paper in a drawer, and it was like, this is full. I mean, it's like two or three different lists on here. What is this? But she said that sometimes paper was in such short supply that you just used it till it was completely full. So if you had like a Post-it note that you'd only used one side of it, it's going in that drawer because the other side can be used. So it's very interesting.
That's the value.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely something I'm mindful of. I'm like, oh, no, I can use the other side of that Post-it. Like, great. My kids are like, really? I'm like, yes, really. Use the other side of it.
That's funny.
Be mindful of what you have.
It is. It's good. It's good to be mindful. I feel like we are kind of a society of like, just use things up, whatever, just toss it. But it's good. It's good to value things, I guess.
For sure. So what are you reading right now? What is on your to be read list when you have time to actually read something?
Reading, what's funny is I generally don't read rom-coms or romantic comedies, even though I write them.
Sure.
And sometimes it just gets in my head, and it's too much, and I compare and all that. So I actually love reading. Right now I'm reading like a bunch of fantasy books. I can't think of any off the top of my head right now. But I love, honestly, reading genres other than the ones I write in. Give me a good sci-fi. Give me something totally off of what I'm writing, I guess, because then I don't get burnt out on it or chew my head over it, I think.
Oh, for sure.
That's how I enjoy reading right now.
Yeah, I've done that. But I also find it interesting, too, and I think it actually helps. I mean, reading, period, helps us all write better. But I think, too, it also helps say, oh, wow, I never would have considered writing a sentence like that in that way, like describing a tree or whatever it was. It's like, oh, and those different genres just have different ways of saying stuff. And it's amazing to see the organizational, setup of these different stories, and it's just really amazing. So I totally get it. And I have way too many books as it is, so I could read for a year and still have stuff left over. So I get it. So what are you going to stay with romantic comedies? Is there something you want to write about at some point that you've thought about, or are you just going to keep that brain right now for rom-coms?
I have thought. I think eventually I will write a historical book, like a historical romance. I actually love like medieval, historical in that time period. So I have like a few stories in the back of my mind that I actually think after this year I might delve into. Because I think it'd be fun to try something different, try something new, and I think I'll always come back to romantic comedies because they're just fun. But one day, hopefully, sure, I'll branch out.
For sure. I mean, I know a lot of people are like, romantic, but honestly, sometimes it's just nice to see the whole process of the relationship in 90 minutes or 2 hours, whatever. And yes, it's a fast track, and some people would say simplistic, but relationships are complicated, and the world's kind of chaotic. So having that a bit of escapism is always welcome, for me, just to step away for a little bit. And we always see some aspect of either ourselves or our friends or, our spouses or whomever in these different characters, for sure.
Yeah. I feel like reading is, for me at least, it's always been an escape. Like, I have a great life, but just sometimes you just need to get out of your own life. And I feel like romance is a great way to feel good. By the time you're done reading, you always, it's always a feel good, kind of escape. So.
Oh, for sure. And it's nice too, because I've read some books, and I'll show my kids, I'll show my daughters, and I'll say, okay, so don't go out with anyone like this.
Exactly. There you go. It's a learning.
Or
learning
don't
tool.
do this in a relationship. This is not good. and my son is in middle school, so he's kind of like, whatever right now. But I mean, it's one of those things that I'm kind of setting up, like, okay, you see that? Was that okay? No, that wasn't. It's like, okay, so that's probably a dumb idea, right? But we know this because it's got to be trigger emotions much quicker than in a book. So if we're watching a romantic comedy or something. But it's classic because my son, anytime there's kissing of anything, just even if it's just like really simple, like Hallmarky type, so he's like, ooh, they're kissing, because he's 12 and that's what he's supposed to do. But to be fair, my husband started that, ooh, they're kissing. So, yeah.
You never quite grow out of it,
No. It's fun. But I think it's important to, if any of us watch movies like that with our kids, especially, you can say, okay, was that smart? And those kind of little lessons gel sometimes. So we were laughing about, we're really big superhero people, and so we're watching WandaVision, and it's been interesting because they've started it through sitcoms, like 50s, 60s, 70s. And it's interesting to watch my older two say, wait, what did he say to her? And it was this, it wasn't the sense of he was obviously rude. It was this minimizing her and commentary. And they're like, wait, what? And I can remember probably plenty of episodes of shows that it wouldn't have picked up, but a different time. So just really interesting to see. Yeah.
So I randomly, I was scrolling through shows, and the other day, or a couple weeks ago, and I saw some of the really old original Charlie's Angels, and I clicked on it. I was watching it for about I was watching about 20 minutes, but it's funny how what was like, I don't know, more acceptable even then compared to now. Some of the things that I was like, what is going on? What are you saying here? And like, that would never fly now, but it was just interesting how I feel like even in the last, 20 years things have changed. So it is interesting.
Oh, for sure. Well, I remember years, I think it was like 20 years later, and I was reading an article about, Aaron Spelling and how he had launched all these different shows. And he was the creator, and they called it, of Jiggle TV, because the women, for most part, didn't wear bras, and they'd run a lot. Yeah. And it was also interesting to me from a medical perspective because you saw the 70s, like you're saying, Charlie's Angels and Wonder Woman and all these things going on. And then breast implants didn't happen until the late 70s, early 80s. And so to go back and look at these pictures and different shows, you're like, oh, okay, they're all natural and nobody's been altered and everything. And then you get to about the mid-80s, I think, and into the 90s, and for sure you saw changes. So it's very interesting to go back and look. There's definitely cringeworthy stuff, like you're saying, but just very interesting, the process for sure. And then to say, oh, well, this was this date. This means this happened socially, and this happened with the Supreme Court, and this had happened through. I mean, it's just like all of that was combined, all those subtle lessons. So I think getting back to sweet romances is a great way to sit down and say to kids, go, okay, but is that okay to do? No, because, this kind of thing. Well, you're not worried about something, clothing go flying early in a moment. So, I mean, I think that it's just fun. They're just fun to read. They're fun to see. So I'm so glad you're, giving us more to read, because that's always what we want. It's more books, all of them, all the books.
Yes, you never have too many.
No, despite the fact that my husband says we have too many, and I love my hubs, and he does put up with my book obsession. So I do appreciate. His comment to me was, "That's fine, but you have to move them you have to pack them up and move them when we move." I'm like, all right, that's fair.
Yes.
And then we hired
yes.
then we hired movers, and I did pack up all the books though. So fair enough.
I do it, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I was telling, I've got so many, and it's to the point now, and I'm sure you've, with your kids and never-ending laundry and disappearing socks, that you've been standing in a bookstore going, okay, do I have that book? Or did I look at that book?
Yeah.
Did I think about getting that book? Yeah. So It was one of those moments I finally, I was telling our guest last week, Pam Humphreys, about this web app that I finally found that actually was like amazing. And so I've got all these books now. So the kids are like, do we have it? I'm like, I don't know. Y'all were scanning stuff in. So now they can look and see. So we don't buy 2 or 3 of the same book.
That is awesome. I need that app. That's
yeah, it's
like
bookshelf. Yeah. Go ahead. Your problem?
My problem is I read an ebook version and I'm like, wait, do I have a print version of this? Do I have an ebook of this? Like,
right.
That adds a whole nother dynamic.
Right. Well, and I will say that this doesn't, from what I can gather so far, this particular one doesn't correlate. I mean, it doesn't talk to Kindle. So, but it's all on my phone, and so I could actually look and say, oh, well, I already have this one. But yeah, I've done that too. I'm like, wait, I think I've read this book.
Yeah.
Yes. It's one of those moments of, wait, yes, I have. Oh, wait, it's here. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, wait, I have 2 already. So maybe I shouldn't get any more. So yeah, it's always a fun one. So I understand. I was looking at the weather yesterday. Did you guys get any of that big storm from that big front that came in, or was that way north of you?
It was more north. They're still telling us we might get some rain here in the next day or so, but it's been pretty dry, despite what we got warnings, but none of it came this way.
Yeah, I mean, because I was looking at the radar, I was like, whoa, you guys. Do you get the big thunderstorms very often, or is it just rain when it comes?
No, yeah, it's just rain here, and it's not very often. We have very minimal weather down here, but occasionally get some rain.
Well, we're in Texas, and so San Antonio always gets these tremendous lightning and thunderstorms, especially in the spring and the summer. And it can be pretty intense. So I was at a conference down here one time, and it was for an asthma allergy thing. And the girl, one of the representatives, the pharmacy reps, said, I'm from San Francisco. She's like, wow, y'all have the most amazing thunderstorms here, all this lightning. She said, I was standing on my balcony of my hotel room talking to my boyfriend on my cell phone and telling him about the lightning. And I was just like,
I would probably be similar to her. It's true. We do not get nothing exciting here, so.
But Southern California weather is just so gorgeous. I can see why people want to live there because and the beach is right there. I mean, yeah, you can't really beat that
at all. It's very nice all year round.
So when you are in Southern California, would you be, and you've got your Presence series set there, at some point would you do something about surfing? Because you have some very cute surfing pictures on your Instagram.
Yeah, I have the main character, the man. He does, that's one of his hobbies is surfing. It doesn't play a huge part in the story, but he does mention it once or twice.
So it's just I'm always amazed at people going out in the surf. My dad was stationed in San Diego in the 60s, and he talked about going surfing a lot. And people don't appreciate how cold the Pacific is.
It's true. Yes, you have to wear a wetsuit is important. Yeah,
it's downright chilly. So, because we went to Hawaii one year and we got in the water, it was like, what? It's way more chilly than we anticipated. What is this? So yeah, but But yeah, I that's going to be fun. So that's the one that you have right now is the guy does surf in the book that's out now. It's If It's Perfect.
I'm sorry, no, it's for the next one. It's just business.
It's just business. Okay. Okay. Yeah. And then the third one, the guy is, so she's the actual wedding coordinator. When you were looking up all the information for all this, did you do the cake stuff research first and then the florist and then like a coordinator, or was it all kind of a collective research time?
I'm kind of doing them each book. I mean, I've done some overall research, but into the details I get more into details, obviously, as I'm writing each story,
Sure.
To make it more real, I guess.
What is your favorite? Yeah. What is your favorite wedding planner story that you read?
Gosh, that I read. I'm trying to think. I'm like the worst when it comes to like recall. You ask me, I'm like, oh no, what is that? That one with that girl, So I'm trying to think. I know I've read so many, and I'm drawing a blank right now, of course, as you asked me. Yeah, I can't even think of one right now.
Okay.
But in general, I love stories with wedding themes. It's just a fun theme for me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what did you incorporate COVID into the story, or is this just like a COVID-free book? Like it doesn't exist?
It's COVID-free. I thought about it. I toyed with the idea, but I don't know. I feel like the distancing, social distancing makes the love story elements, I think, would have been too tricky. So there is no COVID in either of these stories.
Okay. Well, cool. Love it. Yeah, I think there was a big discussion about, do you include it, do you not? And I think the main thing was that a lot of people just decided it depended on the story and how comfortable people were what they were writing about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could see that.
Yeah. Well, it's a lot, and I can understand if people wanted to escape from it even just within the pages of their own works.
Yeah, that's true.
So I so appreciate you talking to us today, Summer. This was wonderful.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. This has been fun.
Absolutely. So if you're looking for Summer, she is Summer Dowell. She has her website, which is summerdowell.weebly.com. You can also find her on Instagram, Pinterest, Amazon Author, and BookBub. And all those links are in the write-up of the show. Her book of the first of the wedding business series, If It's Perfect, is out, and her next book should be out sometime this year. It's just business. So if you sign up for her newsletter, she will tell you when her next book is coming out and all the exciting stuff. And look at her Instagram page because she's got some fabulous stuff on there, and it's so much fun. And all sorts of happy moments and thoughts and great quotes. So give her a shout. And this has been Patricia W. Fisher with Readers Entertainment Radio. Keep on reading, everybody.
This show brought to you by Circle of Seven Productions, www.cosproductions.com. Please be sure to subscribe and welcome to our circle.